Hello friends, we have Catherine here and a Scherl and Roth violin, student violin, but she's the music teacher and she will be here to guide you, let you hear what it is, and kind of give you an idea of who it is suited for. So without further ado, here's Catherine.
So for a student violin, this one really projects. It has a lot more of a soloistic sound to this instrument. Will definitely pop out of the texture if you play it in an orchestra and if you're not too careful about the dynamic. Yeah, already such a great start to this student instrument. So that was a selection from Suzuki Book 4, and I use that piece to kind of test out the dynamic range and how articulate this instrument can sound. And by articulate, it means that you can hear like each individual note if you are adjusting your bow in order to do that. So it's kind of like talking very clearly versus talking with our southern drawl. So. So I did a little bit of uppo staccato, and you could hear each note, and so it really shows the quality of an instrument that can handle those kind of tiny details. Very powerful upper register for sure. She projects. This is all I really have to say. Very projective, a nice clear tone. I think if you wanted to expand into different colors and to get the body of the instrument ringing a little bit more, my recommendations would be maybe changing the strings a little, exploring different string options, changing and adjusting the position of the sound post if you wanted to explore more colors. Meaning different, so by colors I mean like by different qualities of sound. So you can have like a lot more of a harsher sound and more aggressive, or you can explore some of those warmer, more singy tones with different strings. So. Okay, so maybe I wouldn't recommend playing all the way up here, but it handled it really well. So that's awesome. If you're playing TARDIS on this instrument, I think it could handle TARDIS quite well. Overall, I think that this would make an excellent beginner to intermediate instrument, especially if you are participating in solo and ensembles or those UIL solo competitions where you're playing by yourself and with a pianist. This instrument, I think it might stick out a little bit in orchestra sometimes, but that's nothing that the student could make his or her own adjustments by just making sure to play more softly. So that shouldn't pose an issue in orchestra, but I think that this would be a great instrument for some of those younger beginner competitions where you're playing by yourself, because it's able to project and it does get quite a nice sound.
Bravo. These Scherl and Roths are interesting. I believe the top is actually a composite top, but the sound is remarkable. It has new dominant strings on there. So dominants, they're basically 70s, 80s technology. They're just kind of everyone goes to these strings, but if you experimented, let's say, with something like the Il Canonis or, some of the Evaparazzis or some of the darker tones, you can get those different flavors and different vibes out of this string. So Catherine, wonderful job demonstrating it. This was an actual sleeper instrument. I wasn't expecting much from it, but goodness, we can walk away knowing that this is quite a dynamic and quite a brilliant instrument. So bravo to you, and thanks for tuning in, and play on, my friends. All right, friends, and this is just a quick add-on to the video that we just watched. Catherine has just a touch more to share about this Scherl and Roth violin.
One more thing that I forgot to add, the neck thickness is slightly thicker than what you might find on typical violins. It is not unusual, but it is good to note that the neck is just a smidge thicker than what I would be used to playing. And so if you have really, really small hands, I would maybe recommend finding an instrument that has a thinner neck, but if your hands are more average sized or larger, it would be perfectly fine. So just bear that in note, because if you have small hands, it might become a little uncomfortable for the thumb. I played it just fine, and my hands are probably about average size, maybe a little bit bigger than average, and I had no issues playing it. But I do know that those with like really small hands, sometimes I have students with fingers that come up to here, and so maybe that might be a little bit too small for this instrument, but just bear that in mind if you're considering this instrument.
Thank you so much for keeping our players in mind. I love how conscientious you are and how you convey all the details. So thanks again, friends. Hope you have a great day. Play on.